Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's a lovely day. I think it's really lovely outside, and haven't seen actually much of what's going on outside. But something. Good morning, Fred. Today I'll be working on another Fred piece because that seems like a thing. I also am going to work on Ron's pieces today. So we've got a couple things on our plate. So we're going ahead and jump right in here. How you doing this morning, Fred? You having a good day? A bad day? Probably a good day. Do you have coffee? Coffee is good. Coffee is critical. So I think I finally got my smart lights all configured properly so that broadcast works correctly. I think it's even funnier that the way I'm doing here is I've set up this so that it's an automatic system. So it automatically turns this light on to white and these two lights onto colors back here. I wish I could figure out a way to do random so that they're always a different color, but like just a completely random color. I mean, blue and green are my favorite colors, so that works. But I still feel like I should be able to come up with that a little bit better or something. So it's always that. Okay. Moving along. So we have done a number of these things that are in here. And now we want to move to the next possible page. I think we are calling 47 done, which is good. Oh, we were working on 69. That's where we were. All right. I'll share my screen. All right. Yeah, homework. I'm with you on the homework thing. Okay. So, man, my screen has gotten dusty again. Oh, noes. But welcome here anyway. Brent, good to see you, my friend. I gotta de-dust my screen yet again. The only problem with having a tablet monitor is that it attracts an amazing amount of dust. Had a small trauma yesterday. I had a Miller moth in my office here. Now I'm running 10 light bulbs in here, so I'm pretty sure I attract every Miller moth in the... Oh, yeah, I've had that happen where Windows just says, "Yeah, we're gonna do this now. This is gonna happen now." So, anyway, had this Miller moth in here. And, I was trying to convince him to go out the screen door. And he kept, of course, being terrified of me. He's flying around and flying away from me and everything. And so I'm trying to get him to just go out the open door. I've got the door open. He can just go out the door. And in a desperate attempt to dodge me, he flew right into the box fan. And that was a horrible thing. I feel terrible here. My morning started out with killing off a Miller moth. Now, I am not the world's most happy fan about bugs, but I still see no reason to have them die a horrible death like fly into the box fan. It seems so terrible. I'm going to close my Oh, I could see that. Interesting. There is an awful lot of world building in here. That's fascinating to me. So, feel like when we're in this particular one, we go 1, 2, we're heading up to 3. I think what I want to do is like catch every other frame. So like this one is compression, right? And what we're doing here is I'm just trying to show a compression of the body. Right here. Right. So what we were talking about is this guy's a courier, we've decided. He's delivering this backpack here. And that's his job. He's putting his backpack up. And he needs to get from down here where, where we got like this dumpster and stuff like that. He's trying to get up and move over. And so we've got compression, expansion, compression. I feel like I could probably even do like an arc thing like this. He's flung himself. Like that. Like he's really pushing a flip here. So we got kind of... There we go. More like that. Let's extend that. Because he's going to flip this hip around. There, like that. I'm going to hit his backpack there. Like this. There we go. Eyes on the prize here, guy. Eyes on the prize. That's probably too big, but that's okay. Wonder if he'd be backwards. Like, maybe I'd rotate him. Wonder if this would work to rotate him this way. No, makes it look like he's heading the other direction. A backflip might be kind of cool, but the problem is that the way he's going to end up landing is forward here. I don't want him to end up forward, or rather into the alley. Right, so trying to avoid the end of the alley landing, but he's going to end up like this. There we go. He could. I just don't have enough space to show that. I mean, I really like him flipping backwards because we really wanted this to look like parkour, like he's just all over the place. And I'm even going to put the boink, 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 right? To indicate that he went boing and then sprung off of that wall. Because we get a lot of stuck to the wall, stuck to the wall, stuck to the wall, but you don't get the effect of him really flying till you get up there. At which time you got this great, like, boing! You want that motion. And so I feel like the way he's flinging at this point in time, he's just going to end up like, you know what he's going to end up in? He's going to end up in an Iron Man pose, I feel like. It'd be funny. So one arm down like this, one leg up like this, body turned up like this. That's where he's going to end up. This Iron Man pose. Put the knee forward like this. Yeah, it's pretty sunny outside. Actually, I'll put his head down like this. And that's where he's going to end up, is like this. Oof. And I'll keep his backpack kind of still flying a little bit so that you kind of get the feeling that he's still mobile. There we go. Boom. Good morning, Paul. Good to see you. We're working on Fred's piece here. And Fred is with us this morning while he works on homework. This is good. Give a little bit of chaos to this. Then he comes down. And that's where he lands. Alright? I still feel like this guy might be too big. So, I'm going to shrink him down a little. He's making the big leap across the cavern here. Wow, we got dust everywhere, don't we? Okay. So we're making this big leap across the cavern here. End up right here. Alright. There we go. Okay, so let's straighten this out. Give some calf here. Wow. So we've got some serious spine bend right here. Whee! Some epic spine. Now, I've got the rib cage popped up a little here, but it's probably popped up just a little too much. So I'll pull that back. This is our little cat courier here. Does some, as the kids would say, sick parkour to get up here. There we go. Moving right along here. Along the underside, top side, like this. Oh man, I'm still drinking my coffee for the morning. So, there is that. Wink, wink, wink. Bring this around. So what I'm doing here is I'm just putting in all of this. Yeah. And they train you, though. You drink coffee in the military to keep you running. Military coffee is like teacher's room coffee. It's not designed to taste good, just designed to keep you awake, keep you alive so you can get back into battle. I have both military and teachers here, which makes it funny. That's a funny joke. I'm hoping both of you guys appreciate it. Well, thank you. I'm glad you appreciated it. Oh, man. Okay. So this little guy is backflipping, where he'll ultimately end up here. I mean, we got to think about this poor backpack. He probably seals it down, make sure every zipper is zipped before he starts this, because it's just everything's gonna fall out. Right? There we go. Woof. That looks good. I'm liking this. This is going. Okay, guys. I'm going to hit save real quick. And then I'm going to... Yeah, everything just falls out on his head. Brent, you're commenting from 2 locations. I get double comments from you. Hang on real quick. I got to go turn the swamp cooler on. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry. Yeah. I agree. Well, I haven't really been bringing in people from Twitch, but I figure I'll just keep going. Because, I don't have a better concept. See, I might be able to put in page 202. I don't know what's going on in 202. We'll figure that out. But there's a whole bunch of little teeny things on 202, which might be a good one as well. So we were talking about I wanted compression here. Really want to show springing of the body. The body is springing in, crunching in. I would love it if you went over and checked out some of the other broadcast ones, because I've never seen. Actually, Paul, I'm actually out on Twitch. That's the cool thing about Restream, is it's allowing me to broadcast to Twitch and Facebook and YouTube all at the same time. So I'm out there on Twitch as well. But nobody's found me, which is, that's okay. Apparently I can also do something with Discord, but I get the feeling that from what I understood in the instructions, it seems like it's one of those, you can go to Discord, but you've got to go to Discord and manually set it all up every time you do a broadcast. And that wasn't really what I was after here. The whole point here is that this has to be relatively easy. It's interesting you can't comment on YouTube. I find that fascinating. So Brent, who is notorious for testing all of these things for me, which is great of him, is attempting at this point in time to see how many of these various things he can comment on at the same time. So if you look in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see all of the things that I'm on in one way or another, right? But I can only broadcast on a handful of them. Comments are disabled for YouTube. Maybe that's just my... Oh, I'll bet you that's my default mode. A tail. I can do that. I can make him have a tail. You got it, Chief. So... there we go. So the boss says tail. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. So I wonder if, so what I was saying is I think that the comments are disabled for YouTube by default. So I can fix that. I actually have not quite figured out. Not there. Higher. It's got to come out of his spine. There we go. You got it. A tail it is. Tale of two kitties. Oh, you're good, Brent, man. You're doing the good job. You're doing the good work, man. Always fair. I am all here for dual testing. There we go. And the tail. And the tail will be this. There we go. Now he's got a tail. Hey, Paul, you got Lightroom and Photoshop. Good job, man. I like that. That's a good thing. I mean, I know that I have been aggravated from time to time. I'm aggravated with Adobe. I'm aggravated that Premiere keeps crashing on me. That makes me mad. Especially when I'm on deadline and I've got a client breathing down my neck to to get done, and Premiere decides now's a good time to crash. Does not make me a happy puppy. However, that said, I am routinely using at least 4 of the Premiere Adobe products. And even if you count, like I've got Animator here, Premiere, Adobe Audition, Photoshop, Character Animator. Those are the ones that are down there already in my fast fire down at the bottom. Somewhere along the line, it'd be kind of fun to do Character Animator on one of these morning streams. Should do that. That'd be fun. Character Animator is a trip and a half, and a lot of fun if you're an old animator like me. Yeah. Jan. Love Jan. She's a trip. Known Jan for a very, very, very long time. Okay, let's put the highlights in. There we go. That's the backpack here. Me doing Character Animator tomorrow on Friday. Do Character Animator Friday, like it's the thing. Animator Friday. Actually, I'm saying that and I'm laughing, but the truth is that does sound kind of like fun, doesn't it? You could have Animator Friday and talk about onion skinning and all of the goofy, weird things that you have to know to do animation. Animation's such an interesting skill, and it's definitely one of the things that I love to do a lot of. Yeah. I love Jan. I worry about her from time to time. I worry about her a lot, but love Jan. So, okay, moving here. Put the highlight in right through there. Highlight up here. Whee! Look at this. Jan has lived an awesome life. I cannot imagine being an animator in Japan. Jan came to my school 100 million years ago, and when I was in high school and talked about animation to my animation class. Jan? Well, all the normal things that happens with Jan. Every year we see her at NDK, and she is where she is. One time I had Jan came into the museum, and she sat down. I was like, and she was like, "Oh, this is the museum. This is kind of cool." And I'm like, "Yep, this is where I belong. I belong in a museum now." And she promptly sat down in a chair and said, "Well, I guess this is where I'm going to be." I was like, "Yeah, I hate to say this, but you and me, man, You and me. We all belong in a museum. That's a great thing. Here we go. We have some of her signed stuff in here. And to you, Brent, yeah, Indicate is still on. We a lot of people are worried about this because it's canceled? DPCC canceled. But the truth of the matter is, no matter which way you look at it, we have to wait for the venue to cancel on us. We can't cancel on the venue. If we cancel on the venue, then we're on the hook for the full cost of the con, and then we don't have the con. So, whatever is the venue. For example, DPCC, I have no earthly idea how much DPCC pays for the convention center, but I presume it's not $1.50, right? So let's say that it's 200,000 or something like that. If you have, and I'm just making up numbers, $200,000 that you're on the hook for, but if the city cancels your contract on you, then that's an act of God, and you get out of your contract. At the moment, the Gaylord doesn't need to be needed for anything at that point in time. Like, the city is trying to use the convention center for things. And so the city is kind of stealing the contract out from underneath them to some degree. But it's not just that. I mean, the city is closing it down for COVID reasons. But long and the short of it is, as far as this goes, we're still on. There we go. Yum, 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 yum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. There we go. Zooming in, because of course I'm noticing that the tail over here needs to be done. Hi. You're doing weird. So, there we go. Just putting in some of the highlights in the tail so you can see it. Otherwise the tail looks conspicuously Did we move something? We moved something. Why did you move? No moving. There we go. There. That's totally fine. I have a number of buddies who are not anime. And the truth is, I went to Japan and spent many a moon there. And when I came back, I was much more of a fan of manga, the comic books. And, I mean, it's not that I don't like anime anymore. It's not as big of a thing for me as it used to be. Obviously, I still... Hey, stop doing weird. Stop doing strange. You're doing strange. Why did my color balance come up? I don't need color balance. We're good. Okay. It's not that I hate anime at all. But since I've been back from Japan, I have been much more of a fan of Star Trek than I have been of... Yes, actually, Fred is absolutely spot on, Brent. We have a big gaming room, which we can pull out. Who's Steven? I don't know what you're talking about over there. Paul, you're kind of talking about Steven. I don't know who Steven is. But I don't know if that's worth it to pay the admission price for the convention, but certainly something to consider. There are a lot of people who now are coming to... Oh, Stephen Strange. Gotcha. I follow. Yeah, it's on our to-do list here. Our family has been going slowly through all of the Marvel comics, or Marvel movies, and Doctor Strange is up pretty soon, I believe. We've been watching them in order so that we can see, which is actually a lot of fun to watch them all in their correct order, starting with, Captain America, and then going to Captain Marvel, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Stuff like that. Okay, the last one is you. Make sure that this is this. Straighten that out right up here. I don't think it needs these two. So, sort of feels like it's kind of... Let's bow that in. There we go. What we're doing here is bowing this in a little. There. Foom. Makes it feel a lot better. Oomph. Hey Brent, do you play like Attack Wing or any of those miniature games? When you talk about miniature games, are you talking about Warhammer 40k style? Or are you talking about Warhammer 40k? I mean, really? Here's Warhammer 40k. There we go. And so we'll do this. So there we go. Okay. And just covering all this area. So there we go. We'll do that. Put in some there we go. And this will give some good definition of what's going on here. You can see the knee. You can see the hand right here. His foot back there. Skirmish games, gotcha. And of course, I guess you do know that I'm a miniature gamer. Just most of my miniatures are, Star Trek, or I'll actually play Star Wars. I've been thinking about getting into Legion because it looks like it's more character based, which sounds interesting to me. Really want to figure out how to make some game where it's important to, keep characters alive and things like that. Okay. I'm going to kill the blue line out from underneath here. Well, guess whose background color is wrong? Mine. There we go. Okay. I'm feeling like I like this where it is. What are we thinking, Fred? Save. This would be sort of a bad time for Fred to say, I hate that whole thing. Let's make it a dog. Yeah, see, that's something we've been talking a lot about doing with sweet. Okay. Then I'm going to go on ahead and call this guy done because I like this piece. I like where it is. It feels exactly like what we were after. No, I always imagine or fear that happening somewhere along the line. I'll put in 2-3 hours on a piece and then they'll be like, yeah, but maybe not a cat. Can you make it a hamster? Damn it. I don't think you'd actually do that. I'm trying to think of a good example of what that would be, but the idea being that something would be weird. So, okay, I'm going to pull the black covering off of this guy, flatten him down. And then kill the instruction sign, which indicates that this page is done. There we go. And then save as non-PSD69. 69. Override it. Yippers, yipper puppers. And that page is out. Right? Treant is not a loomer. Except I think I did a pretty good job of fixing that problem. I feel like that one didn't end up bad. You know what I mean? So I feel like we've got a pretty good job going on there. Now that one needs an airship, but I was going to work on 202 real quick. Apparently not real quick. Nothing's real quick. For some reason, when I write mouse click now, we have a 15 to 20 second delay before I can get my the thingy, the widget. These are all technical terms. Yeah. This is us talking about different things in different angles. Okay, so we'll bring up the blackouts. And we'll get back to work on this. This is 202. We'll work quickly on 202 and see what I can do to fix this quickly. All right. It's all good. All right, so we take a look at this and we come in here, and what we've decided on this one last time was that we've got one guy sitting here and he's looking at this guy. What? Why, thank you. I loves all the lights in here. It's very light. It's with all the abilities to control all the different lights and everything like that, just makes me so excited. I am such a geek. My wife, who loves me dearly, has been thinking that I was a very strange person this entire time, but she knows me. And so she's been just humored by this. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We got to think of the story. What's going on here? Right? Why is it this guy here is not noticing the creepy guy standing on the wall right here, right? Actually, let's bend his shoulders this way so that his head can make sense to do this. Right? So we'll put this arm back like this, and this arm over here like this. Yep. Yeah, I think I'm terrified out of my gourd that someday I'd be colorblind and not be able to fully enjoy Star Trek the way it's meant to be enjoyed. I think that there's a certain amount of irony to the fact that I love color so much, and yet my style is manga style. Put this arm like this. Hard to do this one. There we go. Like this. No matter which way he does this, he can't possibly get it. That's true. Well, you have to have a certain amount of burned out cones and rods. More importantly, once you've had color vision, it is really, even if you do lose those cones and rods, you've gotten to the point where you can register the colors by shades of black and white by just knowing them instinctually. His shoulder this way, and then this shoulder this way, and we'll do the same thing over here. We got this guy looking backwards because he thinks that's just really strange, right? Make sure we orbit his head this way. This is an ear right here. True to our... I have to stay, like we were saying yesterday, stay true to our vanishing point. And we have some wild vanishing points on this particular piece. There we go. Monkey people don't look up. Oh, that's kind of... I'm not sure whether that's cool or not cool. Because, of course, one of my two lights behind the tablet here is green. So, not 100% sure whether I'm just making life difficult for you, or... If so, I'm seriously, I'm sorry. I was going to do red and blue, but they buzz, so... We'll do this. Put his arm back like this. And maybe he's drawing a weapon. I don't usually do weapons in here. But suppose he's got like a katana he has drawn, right? And this guy is his unsuspecting victim. No idea that he's hanging on the roof up there like this. Right? So he's like... What is he doing? We don't want to put a gun here because it looks like he's aiming his gun at him. Cute. There we go. There we go. Yep. I'm just doing the weird, strange, bizarre lineup for this picture. And a very weird picture. Okay. Cleaning it up. Here we go. Move this guy over a little because actually it's too close on the side. So now that we've done this, I have a rough line lined out here that I like to some degree, but I'm not liking our attacker up there. I feel like he might have something else going on. This poor unsuspecting victim down here is kind of cool. I'm liking him. This is a super dramatic picture with like the weirdest worm's eye view ever. But I kind of want to think about this. What's this guy up here doing? So let's rethink him. Okay, I can redraw him quickly, so I'm not that worried. I think maybe like I want him standing because part of this is that he has control over gravity, so I don't want him crouched down. I want him standing. But let's finish this guy. So we got his mouth there and his nose is right here. And he's got that going on. Like this. Finishing. Sculpting in. I don't know what this guy's doing. I mean, he's just searching. So, we just have searching going on here. Guess he's just some normal schmo. Put some hair on him so he doesn't look that weird. There we go. I don't think he can see this guy yet. So we'll put 1 foot here, and 1 foot right here. Let's talk about what he's doing. So he's obviously standing on the ceiling, ready to do something. It almost would be funny if he was trying to pour something on him. So, like, if he were to have some concoction, where it was like some bubbling concoction of some sort or another, and he was controlling local gravity. Well, this is a question for you, Fred. If he's controlling local gravity, he's got some kind of concoction up there. Can he turn off his control over local gravity in the bottle that he's containing only? So, like, could I put some hideous poison in a bottle and then flip the gravity so it's in the bottle, and then just turn off the flipped gravity in the bottle so it just all of a sudden sprays out or just pours out? That'd be my question. Because if that's the case, I'm trying to think of what I would do if I had control over gravity locally. These are all the things I would do. While you're answering that, I'll clean this guy up. A little more. Hey, Jan. Good to see you, my friend. No. We were just talking about you. We were talking about how I remember you came to my high school a jillion years ago and brought cells. Less than 1% chance of success. Okay, so probably not something I would regularly do. So if we were talking about, like the idea and the concept of so what would I use controlling gravity for? Just hiding? Well, I mean, maybe we should just go back to where we were with this one, and it's just there in this weird, like, he thinks it's funny that he's got gravity up there and stuff. Right? I mean, maybe that's the deal. Hey, I can go back to that. This here. So good old Bridgman comes back into play. All right. Oh, you know what he could do? He's Superman. He doesn't need a boat. That's what he'll do. His arms crossed like, ha-ha, look what I can do that you can't. Right? That's what we'll do here. Well, cross his arms. He's like, ha-ha, you can't do this. Right? Redirecting missiles. That's a good one. Although I'm liking where we're going now with just the humor value of this. Right? I mean, because, like, he's like, smirk. couldn't see the smirk because reasons. But let's go ahead and straighten out his head here. Work, 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 work. Yet again, I'm sounding a little like Chopper. Work, 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 work. Anybody else watching Rebels? Because, I mean, I've been watching a lot of Rebels these days. Other than the obvious, Sabine's awesome. Just saying. I find it interesting that they're having a hard time reconciling Sabine with the Mandalorian. Right? Yeah, you can't do this. Hey, you know, you suck. Just saying you suck. Because you can't get up here and do this. Just saying. When you control local gravity, I assume that your hair would then go down. Right? So, Paul, I'm talking about there's a Star Wars TV series called Rebels out there. And it's a pretty good series. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I watch it with my kid. Because he's more of a Star Wars fan than I am. Doesn't mean that I'm not a Star Wars fan, naturally. It's just that that's his thing. That's his bag. He's in. So. All right. All right. So. You know what you can't do, dude? You can't hang on the ceiling like me. That's all right. This is a rough. So it's right now I'm watching on Disney Plus, but I seem to remember that it was rolling on Netflix and stuff like that. So it could. We're talking about Rebels. Rebels could have been on any of those, and I'm not 100% sure. We ended up with Disney Plus, whether we liked it or not. I am entertained and somewhat dismayed that the Star Wars fans pulled Disney Plus out of the ashes without any problems, and the Star Trek fans can't get behind CBS to save their lives. You know? There we go. Fix this so that that's in here. There we go. And then this arm goes over like this. Nothing like crossed arms to make you have crossed eyes. Ugh. There we go. Truth is, the hand does this number. So we'll clean that up. I've got hotkeys for this, but for some reason I just keep coming over here and tapping the brush. I have hotkeys assigned for it. I don't know. Oh, really? So it's now only on Disney Plus for like season 5. That's a bummer. This guy's pretty muscly. Look at this. He's like big and muscly. What am I doing with this guy? Why is he so muscly? I don't know. I guess really it doesn't necessarily matter who you are or what you do here, I guess, in your world. There we go. So clean this guy up. This is totally a what you can do about it sort of pose here. Right? He's like totally doing the, hey, I'm on the ceiling. What you gonna do about it? Yeah. He's got big muscle shirts, so. He's muscly, apparently. There we go. Okay, now this is not his. Okay, we've done something about his chest here. We've got to do something about this line right here. Excellent. Make this square like this. There we go. Feel like still having some rough times with that left elbow. There we go. Excellent. Make sure his elbows are straight. Going in there. Okay. Perfect. Okie standing on the ceiling. This guy This is like the most ridiculous angle I have ever done. I love this. This is the best. Stuff makes me happy. Stretching your artistic legs, so to speak. Anything I can do to stretch my artistic legs is always good. I love it whenever I get the opportunity to do something that really stretches this artistic, just moving outward in skill. And this is such a dramatic angle. I'm actually kind of feeling like I want to move this further out. Now, somewhere along the line on this, here we go. Now let's talk about this guy's head. Because we need to. Let's have a talk. Shall we? Can we talk? Because I want to talk about where his positioning is in space, right? So if we talk about where his head would be normally in this picture, it'd be like here. But I feel like he'd be turned this way. Yep. You're unknown. I'm not answering you in the middle of my show. I appreciate that you are unknown, but you're probably trying to sell me car stuff, like a warranty. We've called you before about your warranty. You only have 30 seconds left before your warranty expires on your car, and then you die. Call now, immediately, so that you don't die. In my world, this is what they're saying. I'm just saying. Okay. Everything I'm doing here, I'm kind of doing with the Bridgman's movable masses. But let's talk about this. I think his head would be here, and I feel like it'd be tilted up, like he's looking up and like going, "The hell are you doing up there?" Right? And I'm going to just go on ahead and just round this guy out. This time I'll put his ear here. And that is probably the most I want to do here. All right. There we go. We're just changing this dynamic here. So we're going to have more of a cheek like this coming up and around just by the dynamics. Again, we want to think about the construction of the skull in this instance. And when we think about that, coming around this front part here, this frontal lobe piece of the skull right there, right? Okay, so we look at the cheek and the frontal lobe there, and then the nose will just stick out right here, right? Oh. head here. I may have made this too big. We'll see. Huh. That's actually not that bad. Okay. Give him some messy hair. This is the reason why the Psy is against him, is because bad hygiene. I mean, really, if you can't just brush your hair, then just expect to be killed off by a psychic warrior of some sort. It's just the way it goes. There we go. And that's the quote of the day for me. If you can't bother with hygiene, be prepared to be killed by a psychic warrior. And you can quote me on that, and I'm okay with that. I'm just saying. It is true. Maybe these are like trainee and trainer or something like that. This is them being in the old barn. Weirder things have happened in the old barn. We'll do what we've done with the other guys. We'll come back to this one at some point in time and heavily laden it in with still feel like no matter which way we did this here, he's just not feeling like it's angled correctly. I think that might be part of the problem, is this ear. There you go. And his hair. So the line of his head is through here, which means that the ear is actually right here. That's part of it. There we go. And since I think I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing here, I'm going to just go ahead and clear the blue line. No reason to in here at this point. Because now we can just take a good look at what we're doing. Besides, this will probably become the new blue line once I'm happy with my layout on this. And then I'll just re-ink it quickly. Feel like he's kind of didn't do that good. That's like a horror movie right there. It's funny how one line, just one line, still feel like it. And so we're just going through here and we're sculpting, right? Just trying to get the right angle of things. I'm going to talk about his jaw being right here, right? And that's part of it there. I think if we put this here, and let's talk about putting the jaw out like this. There we go. Now we're getting to where we want to be. And that puts this part back further, like here. And then the cheekbone is right here. And then the forehead is right here. That's why I can't find anything on this. And then his nose will stick out to here. Right? There we go. That. There we go. I could use the hotkeys. I think I just said this. Use the hotkeys, I wouldn't have this problem. Apparently, I don't use the hotkeys. Kind of looks like an old man here. I like this. Now we're developing a story. The old man is trying to find the... So, Paul, what I'm working on here is Fred is doing a role-playing game book, and I am putting the interior art in for it. And a lot of these are just little teeny pieces, which are, just filler pieces like this one, which just give a little bit of a concept of what's going on. But there are a few of them that are full plates, and those are rough. Those are rough for me. So I'm kind of doing the full plates, but this is an RPG. This is a role-playing game book that we're working on here. All right, here's what we're doing. I know what's going on now. I got the story. First of all, this is Farmer Joe. Farmer Joe out here, he knows somebody's in his barn, but he doesn't know who. So what he's got here, he's got his pitchfork, right? And he's looking for trouble. And this is what Farmer Joe is doing. He's looking for trouble. Let's make sure we got all of our perspective correct on this. Full plates, that's a graphic arts term for a full page. A splash. Each one of, we usually, and I think it comes from the days of early magazines. The early magazines used to have what they would use photographic plates for the pictures, right? When you did not magazines, but Newspapers. Newspapers would do all of their printing with a case of print press keys, right? So you'd pull out a key that would be like an A or a B or whatever. You'd pull out A, N, and D, and you'd put and you'd place the case letters in into the press. Well, when you added photographs, that adds a little bit of a complication to the printing process, so they added photographic plates back in the day. So sometimes graphic artists will still call those plates because we've got that's because old habits die hard. I don't have any, but I it's what it is. So you'll hear, and you'll actually see it in some like older books. It'll say plate 1, 2 dogs fighting. Plate 2, a dog licking his wounds, sort of thing. So that's where it goes. And you'll see that in older books. And sometimes I just say plate because I keep forgetting that I'm a goofball. That's really what it boils down to. I keep forgetting. People just don't know what plates mean sometimes. And so there's that. Okay, I figured out now what's going on in here. The kid is in the barn. And Farmer Joe here, it's his barn. He's not happy. Not happy. There's somebody in the barn. I can't find him. Can't find him because he's hiding. Where is he hiding? On the ceiling. So Farmer Joe misses him entirely here. This is how Farmer Joe misses him. Give Farmer Joe some coveralls. So there we go. Farmer Joe here has got his pitchfork and he's ready to hit somebody with his pitchfork. Spunky old man. It's funny that this has come up from the concept. I was drawing old Farmer Joe here. There we go. I feel like if Jan was watching for a while, she'd leave. Because I think my art would ultimately irritate the heck out of her. She'd be like, no, you're doing it wrong. Jan is a far better artist than me. Oh well. Can't help but get better. All right. Now we got Farmer Joe. He's cracking me up, right? Farmer Joe needs to have his thumb wrapped around here, otherwise this is not going to work. Right? That's some serious. I mean, he's an old guy, but totally he could do this, right? All right, there we go. Does not surprise me. Not in the least. Does not surprise me that Jan has a lightsaber. It just does not come across as any surprise. Okay, feel like I'm going to have to work with this elbow because the elbow is right on top of us. It might even be out this direction. That's one of the reasons why I'm having a problem with it. Right? And now we find how Guy cannot do his any kind of perspective at all. This is how Guy crashes. Crash, 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 crash. She has Anakin's. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Anakin's lightsaber makes some sense. Okay. Now we're going ahead and pitchforks have a curve. Growing up rural anywhere in America, you get to know quite a bit about these things. Pitchforks have somewhat of a curve, like this. There we go. Alrighty. There we go. Move this guy to here. Like that. It's been kind of a fun little show, hasn't it? And in this one, we've had this complete evolution of this picture from the original artwork to the original concept to something. And this all is about developing the story, right? We wanted to develop the story for this so that we could figure it out. There we go. Now Farmer Joe, little Farmer Joe here. Why, he knows somebody's in the barn. He can't see him. Don't know where he went. There we go. There. Look at us getting this squared away at this ridiculous angle. We can achieve anything. We are mighty. I think I like the feel of going back and forth and clicking over here. Let's get rid of some of these lines that are confusing me. Probably don't have the most efficient way of doing art, but it works. I'm pretty happy with it. I feel kind of like I'm painting a little on this. Okay. There we go. Kind of pinning up these curves through here. go like that. All right. So there you go, Fred. Apparently, we have now evolved to a Psy Kid doing mischief in a barn, much to a farmer's dismay, which is entertaining and a funny story, and I think that's kind of a thing. I don't know whether you agree with me on this one. You may not. Let's make sure it's not touching anything down here before I settle it in. All right. This one's not done yet. I feel like I want to go in and darken some of this area over here and kind of, make this look a little bit more like he's hiding up there in the shadows. But I like the fact that it's now changed. The story has changed quite a bit to good old Farmer Joe up here, who's just trying to get somebody stealing all of his cow's milk. It just seems like such a ridiculously normal thing for some kid to do. So he's got a sign on his shoulder, and I could put it on his forehead if you want. I can also swallow crooked and see what happens. I actually kind of feel like now that this is a kid versus, and by kid I mean a 20-year-old or something like that. I mean a 25-year-old. They're all kids. Give him a little bit more. Here, I'll take this side. I'll put it on his forehead. There we go. It's be hard to see that, but it'll work. But I mean, honestly, we are talking about a little picture right here, so let's give Farmer Joe his Adam's apple. Otherwise, nobody will know it's Farmer Joe. I don't know why Farmer Joe has an Adam's apple that everybody identifies him by, but that's all right. Just, this makes sense in my world. Sometimes it's just Guy's world, and nobody knows why. Guy's world, party time. Excellent. Kind of looking forward to Bill and Ted 3. I know that that's probably like the world's worst movie ever, but it's going to be the best worst movie ever, and I'm looking forward to it. Curious what they're going to do. Keanu Reeves is no longer fluffy and weird. This would be like Tom Hanks going back and doing Bosom Buddies. A Bosom Buddies movie. It'd be like, well, and it's like, did you really expect him to do that? I don't know. So to some degree, I think I'm more curious about how 3 is going to roll out. I'm Bill and Ted. Okay. I'm going to go through here. I'm going to just clean up real quick through here. That's 6 minutes left, right? And everything powers back down to normal in my office. All works well. And since he's up here, he should clean the spider webs, you know? And really, if you're going to hang out in somebody's barn, the least you can do is clean the spider webs. There we go. And all I'm doing here is just giving some weight to this. Go through here, kind of clean this up like this. Oh, that's a knuckle that you just erased. Good job, Guy. That's why I can't trust you with things. There we go. Yeah, Bob the farmer, or Joe the Farmer Joe. Farmer Joe. It's Farmer Joe. Let's go ahead and fix his ear though. His ear go out like this. Come back around, and it's going to be like that. Okay, you got that kind of cauliflower ear that you get when you get older. Farmer Joe is having a good retirement, but not if those kids keep climbing around and stealing all his milk, you know? Just saying. Farmer Joe doesn't like that. Makes him mad. I'm gonna do something about it. I'm not afraid to use his pitchfork. There we go. I call that one good, for at least now. I want to return to this guy at some point. I'm going to have to return to him at some point here. But at least for right now, I'm calling that a pretty decent thing. So that's where we're at today. And tomorrow, we're going to work on some animation, I think, because that would be fun. Brent and I were talking about this earlier. Real quickly dump that. And then Control-Shift-E. This one's not done yet, so I'm not ready to call that one in, but we're getting there. So there you go, guys. That's where we are for Animation Friday. We're going to do Animation Friday. You know, actually, this would be a good thing to do on a Friday when I want to put my computer in for repairs. Not you. I'm good. No, I'm good, thanks. Computer, stop. Thanks. I swear, the more Alexa just chatters, she just doesn't stop talking. And the more familiar with me she's gotten, the more she just talks. It's like me. She's learning from me. That's what it is. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to do Right? It's no, yeah. My wife does not talk half as much as it does. No, she's also at work doing good work and working with the kids, which is what she does. Okay, so tomorrow we'll do Animation Friday. The other thing I was noticing was that Procreate on my iPad has some really interesting animation tools. And I might do a Procreate type show at some point in time where I put the iPad and the iPhone and we figure something out so you guys can watch me do some animation on the iPad. That'd be interesting, I think. So, something to think about, and that would give me one more spot. I could do that over there on the art desk, and that would be interesting. So, and that's another thing to think about when I have to put the computer into the shop, because at some point here I do need more hard drive space, and so we're just short of that. Okay, guys, it's been good having you here on the show, and I will see you all tomorrow. Good night. Good day. Have a good day. Have an awesome day.